Hey y'all, welcome to the Big Bear Homestead, and today we're going to make our own essential oil diffuser. Okay guys, so today we're going to make our own essential oil diffuser. I've had a lot of people ask questions about what's the best diffuser, what's the best way to do the diffusing of the oils. And while there are some electronic diffusers that you can buy for like $20-$30, you can also do it through a diffuser that you can get, like I've mentioned before, at like Walmart, where it's almost like the kind of like the incense diffusers where it has the little bowl. Well, I ran across this while I was doing some searching for one of my oils classes. I saw where you can make your own out of a Terra Cotta pot. And I thought, wow, that's really neat. So I've decided to see if we can make this work. Because a lot of people already have a rotary tool. This is just a Dremel. It's really easy. The tip that you need to use is actually a tile cutter tip. Dremel has it. It's a 562 is the tip for it. And that's for cutting like wall tile. Not the one for cutting floor tile, but for wall tile. And then the only other thing you need is the set for the Terra Cotta. So you'll need a pot and a lid, or the saucer, whatever you want to call it. You're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need a bowl of water. So, and the reason why you use this bowl of water is to minimize the dust when you start cutting everything. Alright, so the first thing that you do is you take your pot and you put it down in the water and you let this sit for about 20 minutes. Then when you're done, after about that 20 minutes, then you'll pull it out of the water and let it sit for an additional 20 minutes. Okay? Now, for the sake of time, we've already done that with one pot. So you'll see it's a little bit darker. See that this is not wet. See how it looks dry. And then this one's been sitting for about 20 minutes. So the next thing that you'll need is you're going to need a tea light to be able to draw your opening. And the reason why you need that opening is because you need the hole so that the oxygen can flow through the pot to be able to pull it in for the fire to warm up the plate where you're going to put your oils. So the first thing you'll do is we're going to use the tea light as a template. Okay, so you basically want to look at your tea light, take your pencil, and you're going to trace around that area to make it so that you can get, so the tea light will fit through, because it would stink if you cut the hole and it's not big enough for it. And now granted, these tea lights that I have are actually a little bit bigger. Typically, you're only trying to get to that little, that little rim right there. But we use a lot of the bigger ones sometimes, so I'm going to make this hole just a little bit bigger. So, basically, I got to come down there. And then, now guys, this does not have to be perfect, right? It just needs to be enough to where it'll fit through. And we'll round it out with the Dremel tool when we get done. But basically, this is what you're going to do, is make yourself a little hole. And then we'll get started cutting with the Dremel. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. Of course, I'm a weirdo perfectionist, so. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do, take your Dremel, make sure that your tip is on tight, and you're going to start on the inside of the hole. You don't want to be on the edge, okay? So you want to start kind of in the middle. So we'll go ahead and turn this on. We'll start at the low setting and see how that works. And you're just going to barely graze the edge, okay? Until you break through. Okay, now once you've gotten through, what you're going to want to do is use the tip on the, like the sides of it is what actually makes it cut. So you want to kind of grind out the edge and do it that way. Now, this is obviously going to take some time, so give me a few minutes and we'll be back. Okay, so it took about 10 minutes to do. I have got most of the edges cut out, and now it's just kind of smoothing it out. Now, I'll be honest, I've never used a Dremel before, so if you see me holding it wrong or I'm doing it wrong, go ahead and leave the comments down. I can take it. I'm a big girl. But this is actually kind of fun, guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on and get the rest of this real quick. One thing I noticed is the research that I did, they said to do an up and down motion like you're sawing. But every time I do that, and again, I might be doing it wrong, but every time I did that, it seemed like the bit would grab and start to bounce. So if I go side to side, that seems to not be a problem. Now, this is not something that you rush through, because if you rush through it, you're either going to make big gouges in the pot, or you might break it, or you might just end up with a bunch of these little, knots right here where I just got a little advantageous and made it a little bit bumpy. But that's what gives it a little bit of character. If your hole is big enough, it's not going to matter if you have any little extra, little ridges here and there. That's what makes it homemade, right? So basically all you're going to do is smooth up these edges so you're satisfied with the way it looks. And then the only other step, guys, is to, see, right there on that edge, you can saw, and that actually works pretty good. But I think when you still have a lot left, sawing just makes it bounce all over the place. But when you get to where you're kind of just cleaning up edges, that sawing action seems to work pretty well. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit more. And then the only other thing left to do at this point is if you want to paint it, you can paint it, decorate it, do whatever you want with it. And then of course is just to assemble it. Make sure you got your tea light. I'm doing this part for Suburban Hillbilly because I know she's going to look at this and it's going to drive her crazy. There's all these little bumps and bruises everywhere. Alright, so that's about as good as it's going to get for my first shot. Now another thing I've seen on here, when I was looking at how to do this, you can actually take sandpaper, and you can go back through with sandpaper and make it so that it's, not rough edge, so you don't cut yourself or anything like that. I haven't really run into that yet, and I've had my hands all in this area. Now let's see, the true test is going to be to see if our tea light fits in the hole. Alright, let's see, get all the dust out of there. Now you will have to rinse out your pot before you go ahead and start burning stuff. Let's see. Ooh. think that fits, guys. What do you think? I think that worked out pretty well. Okay, and then the only thing left to do, which I had a bunch of dust in this one. I got one over here. The only thing left to do is you take your pot lid, and you just put it on top. And then you can put whatever kind of blend in there, and just kind of light your light and put your oils on top. And a lot of times what I recommend doing is putting a little bit of water in there and let the oils go on top so that the oils float, and then as the water heats up, then the oils will start to diffuse into the air. So this was a pretty cool project, guys. I hope you'll be back with us next week when we start talking about different blends for allergy season. Okay guys, so just when you thought we were finished, not quite. When we went to go ahead and light this up, because we were so excited about making this project, it was pretty cool. We went to light it, and it dawned on us that we didn't have any flow of oxygen going through this diffuser. So the flame went out almost immediately. It had no oxygen. We drilled one hole, and that was not enough. Don't pay attention to this little one down here because I wasn't listening. Anyway, I drilled two more, one on either side, and that seemed to do the trick. This light's been going now for probably the last 30-45 minutes, and it works like a champ, guys. It definitely diffuses the oil through the air. The only thing that I did notice is that you want to make sure that this reservoir is full of water, because if you only put a little bit, this reservoir heats up pretty quickly and the water will start to evaporate, and you really don't want this to be so heated and not have any water in it that it just dries and probably cracks. So definitely keep an eye on it. Don't burn it unattended. You kind of want to check on it occasionally, make sure there's enough water in it. One other thing, keep in mind, I'd never used a Dremel before, but I did notice when we went to drill these other holes, I turned the speed up on the Dremel tool, and once the initial hole was drilled, going back through to make the hole bigger, it worked much better on the higher setting. So I imagine when you're cutting the big hole out, if you would drill a pilot hole, maybe 2 or 3 pilot holes, using that high speed, you might be able to get that hole cut out a lot faster than what it took me. Guys, I really appreciate y'all hanging with us today, watching us do this project and learning with us, of course, right? So thanks for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead, and like always, have a nice day.